Hi, it's Jason Perico announcing it's holiday time at Bianchi Honda. This month, get clearance pricing on all top-rated Hondas, like the rugged Pilot, sporty HRV, all-new Accord, and of course, Erie's favorite, the all-wheel drive CRV. Only during the Happy Honda Days sales event, where there's only one choice when shopping for a new car. Erie's choice, Bianchi Honda.
Lady Nights Coaches Show. I want to take you back. I know you want to start with the wins from over the weekend.
Let's not worry about that loss we had on Wednesday night.
I just want to know what you thought of Findlay, because people make sweeping declarations when they see, well, this Gannon team lost. And they don't even bother to look into Findlay and know that it's a damn good team.
Oh, no, they're a very good team. Very good team. A lot of upperclassmen. If you look across their roster, they're all junior seniors. And they have, they're probably their two better subs coming off the bench are seniors who started last year for them.
That's a luxury.
No, it's a luxury.
How many teams have you had with that luxury?
Not many. Not many. And you're supposed to win with seniors. You know what I mean? And they had a huge class. They have probably four seniors and two of them start, maybe five seniors and three of them start, and then two juniors. So they're a very good team, very well coached, very versatile, and they're going to give that conference a run for their money because they're in a new conference now. I think it's the GMAC, and I think they're going to do very well in it.
You never want to lose, but you do have to take things from losses. So what did you take from that game moving into, and then we'll get to the good stories from the weekend.
I think one of the things is we still got to rebound, and that's going to be a work in progress this entire year. I don't think I'm ever going to be satisfied enough, but I know that game it was probably at our worst. I think we went into halftime, if I remember correctly, without an offensive rebound. I don't know in my 20 years and my 10 years as a head coach if I've ever gone into halftime without an offensive rebound.
Unless you didn't miss any shots.
Right, true, which is very slim. Now, we've gone halves where we've shot 70% and a half at one time, but a bounce off the rim that lands in your hands that you're not even looking to rebound.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things. So take things away. Chelsea Rourke had a double-double in that game, 10 points, 11 rebounds. We still had way too many turnovers. Maggie Mitchell was sick that game, but still, poured in 21 points. And we had a little bit of foul trouble with a couple other players, but it's one of those things. You play those tough competitors, and Findlay is one of those teams that are going to do well in their conference, and I think we're going to be better for it. 2-3 weeks from now, a month from now, from playing a tough competition instead of playing someone who we're going to beat by 40 and really not get anything out of.
You mentioned Maggie Mitchell was sick, and I thought, do you have to manage that as a coach? Is that something this time of the year that you're always thinking about? Because they hang out together, so they're breathing the same air.
Yeah, well, it was one of those things. I think it was more along the lines of food poisoning, and you really didn't know it at the time.
I don't want to say good, but
yeah, no, you do. But it's one of those things where I didn't really know about it at the time, and wish I did because I would have got a little bit more rest and different things like that if I would have known. But those are things we've been going since August 29th. So it's been a long run. These kids are getting wore down. Now you see it.
People think it just started. Like
no,
just a few 2 weeks ago, basketball began.
Well, everybody thinks that we officially start on October 15th.
Right.
But at the college level, that's not the case. We're putting in our 8 hours a week, 6 lifting and running, and 2 with the basketball. So these ladies have been going a long time, and your bodies get wore down a little bit. But hers, it wasn't a flu type situation or a virus.
Okay.
It was more along the lines of, we think, kind of like food poisoning, ate something bad.
PSAC crossover, Westchester, the first opponent, 76-73. On the surface, it looks like it was just a dominating performance by your team, and in a lot of ways it was.
Yeah, no, we really came out. It was nice to see this team finally make some shots. We shot 45% for the game, 39 from 3, 77 from the free throw line. So we did come out. We had some letdowns at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Had a bunch of turnovers, like I was telling you before we went on air. I think this game we went into halftime having 4 turnovers. That right there is amazing. Mm-hmm. We ended up having 19, but we had 19 assists. But we had a stretch there for about 1 minute and 30 seconds to start the fourth where I don't even think we brought it across half court. And we turned it over probably 5-6 times. And that's what's going to happen. We got to be better. We got to be ball strong. We got to make smart decisions or smarter decisions. Who we pass to, where we pass to them. Just little things like that. But overall, very, very happy with that game. My assistant coach, Jonathan Ginn. We put in our prep work, and he had the scout and come in Friday after practice, and he was like, "Hey, coach, maybe we should do something to take them off their game." And like we did last year, we went boxing one against Slippery Rock last year at our place. They had a really dominant score, and it worked out. We ended up winning that game, and I said, that's a good thought. What else do you have in mind? So we bounced a couple things off, and I said, I like that. Unfortunately, we only had 45 minutes, and 10 minutes of that 45 minutes of a shoot around to put in our boxing one. But our ladies did an amazing job. We shut down a couple of their players, really threw them off as a team. They weren't expecting it, and that's how we jumped out to a big lead. That's how we hung on. So, I give credit to my assistant coaches. They do a wonderful job, and I was an assistant coach for 10 years, and I try to tell people as an assistant coach, you have to be a professional suggestion maker. You got to make suggestions. You got to throw things out there, not crazy things like, oh, let's just do this, but well thought out things. And my assistants here, Coach Jen and Coach Christina Harvey, they've done an amazing job, and I'm so blessed and thankful that they're working by my side because they're trying to think as head coaches as well. What can we do to get an advantage? What can we do? Because that game, Maggie didn't start. She was still feeling sick, missed a practice before, so we kept her out. There was no other thing. She wasn't disciplined. She was sick.
Right.
So some of the fans in the stands need to calm down a little bit.
Okay. Well,
Maggie
they like that. They like Double M.
They do. They do. They love her. But when you start second guessing and saying that it was discipline, and Maggie Mitchell she's the model student athlete. She is. If I could clone her, and I think most teams in the country would clone that type of kid. Great student, great athlete, great positive teammate. She does it all. And so she was a little bit sick, but she came out firing on all cylinders, come off the bench with 20 points. And that's what happens when you start hitting shots. I was telling you that last week. We didn't hit shots. Finally, we shoot a good percentage, and we can put the ball in the hole.
It's contagious, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the outsiders, we think that you reach, not just you, but any team, they reach this equilibrium where they're striving for it, and then they reach it, and then boom, there's the team that you want for the whole year. It's really not that simple. There are course corrections along the way. There are adjustments, ideally after each game, that you can make to improve for the next game. So we focus a lot, stick with me here, Coach.
Yep.
We focus a lot on turnovers. You mentioned
Yep.
the 4 turnovers. That can be a plaguing issue. That can be an issue that plagues you year long, but it's not uncommon to have to make gentle course corrections along the way, right?
Absolutely. And you brought it up last year. That was our crux. It was we turned the ball over 22 times a game. We don't want to do that. You can't give the other team that many opportunities to put the ball in the hole, especially when you're playing in the PSAC, because teams will take advantage of that. But yeah, it's a work in progress. It's something that we really gotta take into consideration. The other thing is with us is some of it is the personnel that we put in. Some players, some groups of players don't always work well together.
Sure.
And so we're finding that out. We know a group right now that we really don't want to have. And that's not talking bad about anybody or anything. And I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a group of players that we have that just don't work well together. So we try to limit them, their playing time together. But you take 2 of those players, put them in with 3 other players, no problem. You take those other 2 players out, put another 2 players in, no problem. But when you get those 5 on the court, it just doesn't jive well.
Right.
So those are things that as coaches we sit there and we make note of, and we do game impact charts and different things like that, and how people are affecting the game. And so we got to study that and take a look and go from there. But you're right, it's a work in progress, and those are things we got to limit: turnovers and rebounds.
How many times in a practice do you think you say the word turnover? Is
Well,
it different? Does it vary?
It varies. It
Okay.
varies. Today I mentioned it a couple times, and it was only because we give out different awards, and Miami U has their turnover chain,
That's great.
and they make a big deal about it. So we have a couple things.
They want turnovers.
Right, they want turnovers. Defensively,
Yes,
they want
yes,
turnovers.
take away.
Offensively, they don't.
Correct.
I told them I don't want to have a turnover chain. We have an X Factor belt, and that goes to the player who is contributing to the team other than by points. So we look at free throws made, we look at rebounds, we look at assists, steals, and blocks. Then we chart, because stats don't keep charge of charges taken and loose balls recovered. So we take those and we add them all up, and then we subtract free throws missed and we subtract turnovers. and that gives you an impact in the game, a positive or a negative. And so we have a little championship belt. Maggie Mitchell was our first winner, and so she has that. Then we have our hard hat award that we give to one post and one guard, and I believe Emma Oss won it for our guard, and then Haley Tavis won it for our post player this. But we've been doing it since preseason.
See, that makes sense to me because I'm thinking that, and I've never coached anything, but if I were a coach, I could see myself obsessing over turnovers. I would say the word obsessing.
Yeah.
But with that, you have kind of a formula where it's inherently factored in. It is factored into the X Factor award each and every week, so inherently you have to look at it while not dwelling on it, not pounding it into a head. You're a turnover machine.
Yeah.
So that's cool stuff. That's cool. All right, Westchester 76-73. Sometimes you're going to give up some points late in games when you dominated the first half, but the second half, does that sit well with you?
Other than the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, I was fine with the game. We just had that stretch where we turned it over and they scored 8-10 points. They went on an 8 or 10-0 run where we couldn't get it past half court. And once we settled in, we hit some big shots. Now we missed a couple free throws that it shouldn't have been that close. They really shouldn't have had taken a three and tied it. Let's put it that way. We had some free throws missed down the stretch with less than 30 seconds left that would have put us up 5 or 6, and we wouldn't have had to worry about that. But big key play that happened towards the end. There was a hard foul. We drove, gave it to Nicole Acava. Kid came across her face, knocked her to the floor. Hard hit like that can rattle most people. Nicole got up, went to the free throw line. TCB took care of business, knocked down 2 big free throws after taking a shot to the face.
Nice.
We go up, then again, come back down. Maggie Mitchell hit 2 big ones to put us up 3, and then we defended, and they missed the shot.
And you had mentioned, I don't think you mind me saying, you had mentioned off air that there was a point where you may have taken a timeout, or maybe in the future you will. So there is the aspect of you just getting to know how exactly to coach this version of this team.
And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because when they took a timeout to advance the ball, I turned to my staff and I said, hey, there's 4 seconds left. What do you think about fouling? And one of my assistants said, because I knew it in my head, they're like, Coach, we don't rebound very well off a free throw line. And I said, then we're not going to foul. Let's go defend. You know what I mean? Because we've given up probably 5 offensive rebounds off the free throw line this year. That shouldn't happen 5 times in a season, yet it's happened 5 times in 5 games. You know what I mean? That's a problem. They're standing right there. All you got to do is box them out. It's not hard. You just got to box them out. And you got to make the effort. So we decided not to. Maybe later in the year when we get down that boxing out thing and that rebounding thing, we'll do it because it works for teams. Put them to the line. You know what I mean?
Right.
Make them make a shot, miss a shot, get a rebound, put it back. But we just felt we were better, that we were playing good defense down the stretch, that we were going to defend them.
Cool. That's cool. And then as a fan, that's one where maybe you can't win. If that goes badly, then it backfires on you. Yeah. But what we don't see and understand is that conversation that takes place between you and your coaches. And that's, I guess, the beauty of being a fan, right?
Yeah. No, that's it.
79-70, the win over Cheney. Pretty good way to wrap up the weekend. 3-2, 2-0 in the PSAC. You stayed perfect. Yep. You know what? Hold on. I got to go back because the win against Westchester was the 700th victory in the history of Gannon basketball.
Awesome. I didn't know that. That was a nice little fun fact that Dan Telesky.
Of course, you haven't been here for all 700, but congrats nonetheless. Congrats nonetheless. Yeah. So then you moved on to the victory 701 against Cheney.
701.
Tell me about that game.
We started out slow. It was one of those things where we had our, these back-to-back games can be wearing on teams. You know what I mean? And we've had a tough stretch of playing when, and not making any excuses, but you got to go out and play. And our focus of that game, we did our shoot-around. I said, ladies, this game at our shoot-around, it's all about focus and discipline. We got to be focused and we got to be disciplined. And we weren't. To start the game, they got up 10-0.
For some reason, that's a natural. I can never figure that out. It's like in a football. This is one of the times I thought Brad was going to come across the table. That's one of those things like when you give up a turnover in a football game, they turn around, play action pass, throw a bomb down the field, and maybe 6 times out of 10, which is a huge percentage, that works. They complete that pass. It's just something mentally. The defense is on their heels, and they get burnt. And I don't know if it's kind of the same thing.
Well, it's one of those things where I think you look at the schedule, you look at the team, and we've had a lot of success against Cheney. And we saw them play, so our kids saw them play and said, they took. I believe it. We took them lightly, and I got to do a better job of getting my team ready I said, I tried to get him in the pregame, talk to him, drummed it up again, and now it's gonna probably be like reverse psychology, because I told him
That's the battle. That's
the battle.
That's coaching.
You know what I mean? But I was really proud of our team because they shook it off. They shook off the mistakes. So mind you, we go 4 turnovers against Westchester at halftime. We had 11 against Cheney at halftime. Settled down. Ended up only having 6 in the second half, and took the lead. And they made a run towards the end, hit a couple threes, but we shook them off. But our kids were grounded, and we became more disciplined as the game went on.
Do you factor in forced, unforced turnovers somehow? Is that an assistant coach duty?
Yeah, we'll look at it. We have a coach that tracks our offense and different things like that, and we'll know. She'll make a little note, but for the most part, we'll know that. Oh my gosh, what were you passing?
Just the eye
went
test.
into the stands.
Sure.
There was nobody really on you. Just little things like that. But yeah, we'll make notes and we'll say, hey, we had out of those 6 turnovers, 3 of them were just miscues, just unforced. There wasn't anybody in your face. You just threw the ball a little too hard or too high. It went over somebody or something like that. But anytime you can get 4 players in double figures, is really good. And we had 16 assists to 17 turnovers, so we're getting there. Last game it was 19 to 19. So if we can keep those turnovers low, those assists high, we had some really good play off our bench. We outscored them 29 to 11 off the bench. Haley Haley Tavis had 14. Sydney Mitchell, a freshman, had 11. Emma Oss had 4, but she had 6 assists and 2 turnovers.
So that's that X factor.
That's it. That's one of those things where she had a really good, and we had a lot of players. And then you have Chelsea Rourke with another double-double, back-to-back games, double-double, 15 points, 11 rebounds. So really happy with her. And Chelsea's a stat stuffer. If you look at her stats, she always has something. It's very rare that there's a 0. Now maybe for fouls, but she even stuffs that one as well. She had 3 fouls there, but she had 11. She didn't make any threes. She was 0 for 2. She had a couple good looks. She was 5 of 7 from the free throw line. She had 11 rebounds, 2 offensive. She had 2 turnovers, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 steals.
That's solid.
That's a full game in 36 minutes. And our little stats we keep, that's a plus 20. So
highest of the day?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great
So
stuff.
yeah.
2-0 on the weekend.
Yeah, we'll take it, man.
Absolutely.
We'll take it.
Market improvement from last year? Is that safe to say? Or
yes, no doubt.
Okay.
No doubt. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to our last year's team, because I thought our kids competed hard. They still have that same fight. It's just we're 1 year more mature, wiser, a little better at times with our basketball IQ. There's some times where we go make a great play, basketball IQ play. 2 plays later, it's like we're not even there. We mess it up, and it's like we're still learning. We're still getting it. And like I said, I think I told you this last week, if we're playing our best basketball right here in November, it's probably not going to be a great season.
You have got the 10th ranked team in the D2 SIDA regional rankings. I assume SIDs vote on that, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 10th, congrats.
Yeah.
You take your 10th ranked team into Virginia Union on Saturday.
Yeah.
I hear that that's not an easy trip.
No, it's not. Number one, it's long, and they're a great program. They lost 1 game this year. I was just watching film of them. They have a lot of kids coming back from a team that was national runner-up. So we're going to play them. Like I said, we don't play any cupcakes. So we're going to go there, return that game to them. We're excited about it. But in between we have Thanksgiving. So we got to stay disciplined. We got to stay focused. We got to enjoy our family when we're home and the times that we're here, those that travel here for us. And then we'll practice tomorrow, give them off Wednesday, come back late Thursday night, Thanksgiving. Hopefully they hadn't had too much turkey.
I was just sitting here shaking my head. I'd be worthless to you on Saturday. I'd be like, Coach, I'm sorry. I appreciate the thought, but I got leftovers, man.
Yeah.
I'm still working on those.
Yeah.
So that's another disciplinary thing that fans, we don't have to worry about it because you could take a nap at the mill if you could sleep through the noise.
Right. Yeah, right. So our ladies, they know what's at stake. They know that, this is the next game on our schedule, which makes it a big game.
Sure.
And so we're going to prepare for them, prepare for a very, very good team. And I'm excited about the opportunity. I tell our kids all the time, you only get so many games a season to play, and you got to make them count and see seasons go by quick.
He's Jim Brunelli, Gannon Lady Knights Coaches Show. Again, they got Virginia Union Saturday. That's November 25th. It is on the road, 1 p.m. And last but surely not least, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Coach.
Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you. We'll see you back here next Monday.
Best dish for Thanksgiving?
Oh, man. It's just the turkey.
Turkey.
Gotta love the bird, man.
Got it.